It's Finish It Friday. I'm stitching it my way. Just wanna be sitting with needles and knitting. Hello, hello. Yes, I am recording this video for Finish It Friday. That's right. We made it to the end of another week, y'all. Yay for that, right? Now, if you're a crafter, you know what Finish It Friday is. Yeah, that's just show and tell in the crafting world, right? Where I show you my latest FO, finished object, and because I'm visually impaired, I use my words to describe it because I want to include any other visually impaired people out there on the internet. And if you're a returning viewer, I just want to say thank you so much for choosing to come back, hang out, spend a little bit of your day with me, right? That's truly a privilege. So, and I also want to thank all of my new subscribers. I have some new subscribers. Thank you. Did you know that subscribing to a YouTube channel is free? It's free. It won't cost you anything. So if you enjoy my content, you might want to check and see if you're subscribed, because you know what? That'll help make sure you don't miss any of the content, and that also tells YouTube that you enjoy the content here, and then they promote me more. YouTube cares about those things. That means I show up more in other people's algorithms who like the same stuff as you. Okay, well, if you're a returning viewer, thank you for your patience while I briefly introduce myself to anybody who might be new to my channel. Hi, my name's May. I love yarn. I love to knit and crochet. Those are my hobbies. And I also happen to have been born visually impaired, legally blind, colorblind. So I knit and crochet by feel. And I really do believe it's for everybody. Okay, well, let's get to the latest F. All right, it is a tank top. I designed this myself in less than a week, y'all. This thing was created in my mind, on the hooks, on the needles, and off. Boom, boom, boom. Loving it. Okay, I knit and crochet this because if you're a returning viewer, you know I love knitting and I love crocheting, and I can't even decide on a project. I'm like, do I want to knit my next project or do I want to crochet it? And I don't know, so I just put the two together, and that makes me so happy. So this particular project is knit and crochet in the Premier Dottie. It is a number 3 DK weight yarn. It is in the color Creek side, which is like a white background with all these different printed dots in like browns and tans and blues and greens and yellows and grays. Okay, it's just a very colorful little yarn. So how in the world did this start? Anyways, right? Well, it started with a yarn sale, right? Premier had a yarn sale one time. They have a lot of yarn sales, and they put that Dottie on sale, and a good sale. And you know I love a good yarn sale, right? I was like, ooh, that's a good price, right? So I just put a bunch in my cart without really any idea what I was going to do with it, because now that I have a YouTube channel, I'm trying out a bunch of new yarns for y'all, right? You don't want to see me working with the same yarn over and over, week after week, the same projects, right? So I'm trying so hard to try out new yarns. Keep it interesting, keep it fun here. So I am colorblind, so choosing colors was really hard, but I did feel like the Creek side was probably something I could wear. And I think it is. What do you all think about this tank top? You think I can wear these colors? I hope so, because I already like the top. Okay, so when I bought this yarn, I really didn't have a clue what I was going to do with it. And here is a picture, here is the leftovers of the skein. If you're a returning viewer, you know that I already knit this V-neck baby cardie with the yarn, and that is a free pattern. I should have brought it with me, but that's okay. You've seen it on Whip Wednesday. You've seen it on a Finish It Friday. So you know that I already did the V-neck baby cardie with this, and I really loved it. I thought it was so cute. I enjoyed the yarn. Then I knit the ruffle baby dress in the strawberry fields, and I was like, I love the feel of this yarn, and I'm so pleasantly surprised because I'm not really a big fan of acrylic yarns. I'm wearing them, and I was like, ooh, this is nice. this is soft, right? This is soft. Like, I kind of want to wear this, you know? So that's what I was thinking when I was working with it. I'm like, yeah, it does make nice baby projects, but what about me, right? I want to wear it too. Yeah. And also, you know, once I knit with it and enjoy the experience, I'm like, ooh, I wonder if it's just as fun to crochet with, right? That was going through my head. So, of course, I wanted to crochet with it, and I wanted to make something for me. And I really didn't know what the heck I was doing. So there I was, sitting on my bed right here some Saturday morning, and I was thinking, like, you know, I know how to do ribbing and knitting, right? I love putting knit rib on stuff. And I was thinking, I need to learn how to do that with crochet, because I'm still learning a lot with crochet. And there's multiple ways to rib with crochet, right? You can do the front post and back post thing. Well, guess what? I'm not very good at back post crochet yet. Okay, I'm going to be real with you. I'm not very good at it yet. I didn't know if I really wanted to do a whole bunch of back posts, but I know there's other ways. And you can find a whole demo on my channel on how to do it sideways, basically, where you work on it on the short side and you work into the back loop, right? So you, instead of looking knitting, you would go around the whole of your body. I guess it'd be the width of your body, maybe. Around the distance around your waist if you're going to put ribbing on the bottom of a top. And you would work on your knitting needles around your body. And so that's what I'm used to doing with ribbing. Well, with crochet, if you want to do it in the back loop, which is what I decided I should learn how to do, you do it shortwise. You chain about the distance that you want your ribbing on the short side. And then you do one extra stitch, right? So I did 9 because I wanted 8. And then you crochet into the back loop. And then you just keep doing that for the whole, excuse me, sorry, for the whole distance of your project, whatever you want. Now, I didn't even know. I was just setting out to learn a new technique, right? And really, I should have gotten up and probably got like a number 4 or a number 5 yarn to learn a new skill by feel, right? Probably should have started with a DK weight yarn because the stitches are smaller and they're harder to feel. But that was what I had next to me. That was what I really wanted to work with was the Dottie. So I grabbed that. That meant using a 4.25, my G hook, my boy hook, my 4.25 millimeter hook on the DK. And so that is really hard for me to feel. You got to feel each stitch, and then on top of that, you got to separate it and pull out the back loop. So I'm going to be honest with you. That was a pretty tedious project just for me to do. The waistband ribbing on this was pretty tedious. Took me hours. It literally took me hours to do this ribbing in the back loop for the waistband of this top. So realistically, on my first project, I probably should have just done like, you know, cuffs for like fingerless gloves or something, right? Something small. But that's not me. Should have done a hat. No, that's not me, right? I was like, just keep going. Just keep practicing. And soon enough, I had enough to fit. I was like, make a waistband. You want to make a top. I've been really wanting to make a summer top that starts with some ribbing on the bottom with crochet. So I just kept going. So that's the first thing I'd say. It's great for a top. And the great thing about making our own clothes with knitting and crochet is we don't have to go to the store and feel bad if, you know, we got to, you know, buy an X large or something. Because I've been there. I know some of you might not believe me, but I've been there. I've had to go to the store and buy an X large before. And to me, it didn't feel real good, right? I was like, right? So, so that's the beauty of knitting and crochet is you don't have to do that. You just make everything to fit your body. So that's what I did. I just kept making this thing until it fit around me. Now, if you are a knitter and you want to do this, the one thing I will tell you is that ribbing in crochet is not as stretchy as knitting rib. Okay, knit rib is stretchier. It's got more elasticity to it. So I realistically should have made this a little bit bigger than what I did. but I'm learning. It was my first time. I probably should have even ripped out the whole thing and restarted it because it's far from perfect, okay? It's a little sloppy, it's a little uneven, but whatever. While I sat there for hours practicing this new technique, my mind was already in the future, right? Like I'm just like, my little fingers are just going along, feeling that back loop, working into it. And my brain was already in the future, designing this top. I'm like, what am I going to do with it? Ooh, 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 what about that? What about that? Because, okay, this is acrylic, right? I'm a 47-year-old woman. I have hot flashes. I don't really want to wear, acrylics don't breathe as well as natural fibers. I love to wear my cottons and my wools and my natural fibers, and acrylics don't breathe as well. And so I like, I might be kind of hot in acrylic top, right? Might be kind of uncomfortable and sweaty. So I knew I wanted something lacy or meshy or something in a tank top that was going to be, you know, like breathable for me. So I was already thinking about that. Well, I was working on the ribbing. So once I got the ribbing to the you know, around me, that would fit around me, then you just fold it in half, right? You fold your ribbing in half, and then you just slip stitch the two ends together, right? That's all you do. Once you get to how the distance that you want it, fold it in half, put your two ends together, boop, 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 slip stitch those two ends together. You got a little seam, you make that. I made that on the inside then. And then once you do that, then you turn your project so that it's the distance around you, and you can start working in whatever you want to do, whether it's single crochet or excuse me, half double crochet, whatever. I wanted to do double crochet. So one thing that I did, I'll show you here what we're looking at, is that you've got these little ribs in here, right? In the ribbing, you got your little ribs. And so in each rib of mine, hopefully I got that where you can see it, each rib of mine, I did 2 double crochets, right? You can go along here, and in each little section of ribbing, you can see that I put in 2 double crochets per section of ribbing. So I ended up with 108 stitches around my person in double crochet, and that's what I wanted because I knew I wanted to do some kind of mesh. You know, I don't know what this stitch is called. I'll be honest with you. I can't say I'm new to crochet. I've been crocheting for a year now, but I don't know a lot of the stitches. I don't know a lot of their names. I'm not that experienced with it yet. So I know that I'm limited in designing. So I don't know the name of this mesh stitch that I use. It's probably called like mesh stitch or box stitch or square mesh or windows or something. It's like little open meshy squares, right? I don't know what it's called, but I knew that's what I wanted. That's what I had pictured in my head. That's what I wanted. And so I thinking that's probably going to be a multiple of 4 with how I was seeing it. And so that's how I worked it. So 108, right? Or you could have done it in 104 or 100 or 112 or any multiple of 4. So I started that out. In my first stitch, I do a double crochet. In the second, so, oh, wait a minute, I was on my double crochet route. So that's what I was going to tell you too, is I did the 2 double crochets in each ribbing. Yeah, so then when I got to the mesh, that's right. When I got to the mesh, I had the 108 stitches. So then in the first stitch, I did a double crochet. In my second stitch, I did a double crochet. And then I chained 2 and I skipped 2, right? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 stitches all the way around. Was the 1 double crochet in the second, chain 2, skip 2, do all the way around until you get to your next round, and then you alternate, right? So instead of stacking your double crochets, you chain over the top of your first 2 double crochet stitches, 1 and 2, and then you double crochet in the third, and you double crochet in the fourth, right? So that's So that's how the mesh stitch works. Is it's just a 2-row repeat. Once you do it, it's a 2-row repeat, right? Over your 4 stitches. So, anyways, yeah. Let me hit pause for a second. Hang on. Okay, sorry about that. Anyways, life, right? Life happens. Life be lifing. So, anyways, so that's the mesh stitch, and I just kept holding that up to my person because I knew I wanted like the midriff sort of section of my top to be in the mesh, right? But then when I got to the upper part, right, like my chest, right, bust area, I knew I wanted to transition to knitting to a solid stitch, right? So, for me, that's just my preference. I know a lot of people, crochet is super in right now. A lot of people wear full-on crochet garments, and that's fine. That's if you do you, right? But for me, I just wanted the top of mine to be knit, and so I have a whole video on my channel of how to knit from crochet, where I demonstrate that for you on how to do that. And so one thing that I know is that for my body, this is the great thing about knitting and crochet, right? We can customize our garments to fit our bodies, right? So I know that from where below my bust, right, is quite a bit smaller than the actual bust part, right? And so I know I'm going to need more fabric. I'm going to need a lot more stitches for that area, right? As I had 108 stitches, and I knew 108 stitches, and I did no increases on the mesh, on the crochet, okay? Now I knew that I was going to need a lot more stitches for the next part of my garment. Now, of course, I could have knit and worked in some increases, right? I can do that. I can do a knit one through the front and the back, or I could do some short rows along the front, but I'm not very good at short rows, right? We've had that conversation before during sock week, right? May's not very good at short rows, but I can do them, but I'm not good at them. So, rather than try to shape those increases into the sides or into the middle, of my top, right? For me, I find adding increases in crochet is a lot easier than knitting. So that's honestly, if you're going to do a top or a project where you want to go from crochet to knitting, my recommendation is that you put those increases in the crochet, because it's so much easier. It's just, for me, crochet works out so much better that way. So to end the mesh, I did just like at the bottom where we have a solid row of double crochet. I went ahead and did a solid row of double crochet on the top, and what that meant was that not only did I put double crochets in the double crochets, right? But then when we do the mesh, where we've got the little mesh that where we normally would do a chain 2, skip 2, right? So normally if you wanted to keep your stitch count even, right, at 108, then you would put 2 double crochets. Oh, and when I do the mesh, by the way, I double crochet into the space, into the chain space, right? So also if you're visually impaired or if you're sighted, that makes that crochet go so much faster. When you can work into the space and not into the stitch, it's like boom, right? That works a lot faster. So I like working in the chain space. So normally, okay, if you wanted to maintain your stitch count at 108 stitches, you would work a double crochet in each of the 2 double crochets, and then you'd work 2 double crochets into the chain space. Well, I knew I wanted to increase the size of this tremendously. So I went ahead and put 3 double crochets in each chain space, right? So that's how I did my increases, was I did them all in crochet. So when I have 108 stitches over a 4 round repeat, that is 27 repeats of the pattern, right? So by doing that, I added in 27 new stitches into the top all the way around. So whatever 27 and 108 is, my brain's not mathing that very well, right? 135, right? 135. So I think I went down to basically 134 is what I ended up with. I did 134. Basically, I did 3 stitches into each of the chain spaces, I think, except for the last one where I only did the 2 because I wanted an even number. It just worked out better for me. And so then I had 134 stitches, and because I know that are evenly distributed then right around the body. And so this, for me, I hope that this is helping people. If you want to design your own clothes, I really hope, that's what I love to do. I love to design my own clothes. I love to be creative, and I really hope that this channel is a place where I can encourage people to become their own designer, to customize your garments for you. So that's why I'm going into so much details. I really want to help you to be like, you know what? I want my project to fit me, right? To fit my body. So that's why I'm explaining the whole thing. It's because that's, I mean, it's, you know, even if you're not interested in crocheting your own stuff, maybe you can learn, right? So anyways, okay. So anyways, but because I wanted more stitches in the front than the back, right? I did 70 stitches on the front and 64 on the back, okay? And so then, like I show in that video on how to knit off a crochet, I went ahead and threaded my knitting needle through those crochet stitches, right? And then proceeded to work them. Now in that video where I demo it, I say to knit those stitches through the back loop. Well, guess what? I did more experimenting on this top. Okay, I'm not even gonna lie. I probably should have done this, but I did it, and it was my top. And hey, you know what? You probably shouldn't be looking that close. Okay, I'm just saying. But on one side, I knit the stitches through the back loop. And the other side, I knit them through the front loop because I just wanted to see the difference. Okay, that's what I do. That's how I roll. I'm like, we're just being creative. We're just experimenting here, right? That's what we do here. That's what you do in your creative process. So I actually like them work through the front loop better, interestingly. So you know what? I don't really know that it matters. I think it's up to you and the look that you want with your project, okay? So, and then I could just knit, and because I had all my ink, so if you're satisfied with that number of stitches and increases, then just go with that. But of course, you know what? I'm kind of an average size woman on top, right? And I know that there are women who, I've had times when I've been more than average on top. Okay, I've gained weight, and I've been larger on top than I am now. And so if that's you, then still feel free to continue to add in some more increases right at the sides, the middle, wherever you need to do that. And then I just worked my way around till I tried on. That's the beauty too, right, of making our own clothes, is we get to make them to you know, we to try them on in their process, right? We tried on, nope, not yet. Nope, not yet. No, I like that. I don't like that. So I tried it on with the bra that I thought, yeah, that's the one I want to wear with that, right? The one I'm wearing today. So worked it till that was covered, right? And then did about 4 rows. We got some garter stitch on the top. Now, okay, I spent time. Here's where I really did mess up. And I did mess up, and I was super frustrated with myself for this. Okay, I spent time being like, what am I going to do with the straps? Am I going to knit them? Or am I going to crochet them? How wide do I want them? Do I want them to have lace? Do I want to do cables? Do I want to do mesh? Right? Like, I spent all this time obsessing over knit or crochet, lace, cables, do them up and over the top, do a halter top, or do them sideways. And what I didn't put a lot of thought into was the placement of my straps, okay? Like where to put them. And so unfortunately I should have set the project in. I was pretty tired. when I did the straps, and shouldn't have done them when I did them. And that's a bad habit of mine. Like, I don't always know when to put the work down when I'm tired, especially when I'm designing something in my head and I hadn't given it enough thought. So I will say the one mistake I made on this project is that I should have moved the straps over in the front by like 2 stitches in further from the sides, and probably by about 3 stitches in from the back. So that is where I did make a mistake. Is that the straps are a little too far out on the shoulders for my taste, for my preference, right? But I did decide to go ahead and do just plain old knit straps. And the reason I did that is because, you know, I think that with this patterning on this yarn, I think it's a busy enough yarn that you don't really need anything else fancy. Like, I even questioned the mesh. Like, I wanted the mesh on this, but even that I do think, is it too busy of a yarn to do stuff like that with, you know? So I kind of just like it in the stockinette. Like, I thought, oh, I think lace is just going to get lost in the pattern. So I just did some garter stitch on the sides and then just did some stockinette straps, just plain, because I think the dots add enough to the yarn. It's busy enough all by itself. I don't think it needs anything else. So now here's the thing, like, I don't bind off on my straps. When I bind off, and I have decided to bind off, oh, the other thing I was going to say is that I did the stockinette portion on the top on a US size 6 needle, so a 4mm needle, right? So I did this, so that went down by 1/4 millimeter from the crochet hook, right? And so then the one thing, because y'all hear me talk all the time about, oh, I bind off too tight, I bind off too tight, was one thing that I've really found is that if I crochet my bind offs, they're not too tight. It's amazing, especially if I go up, bump that hook up a bit. So I went back to my 4.25mm crochet hook to do the top, and to do the bind off on the top. And so that worked out a lot better for me to do that. I've got the stretch that I want in the top on the bind off, and I'm loving it. So I bound off on the sides, then I worked across the top of the strap, and then continued with my bind off, and did that on all 4 sides for the strap, right, left and right, front and back. Did that, and then put those stitches on holders, and then worked each strap up to the shoulder. Just tried it on numerous times, right? And then, of course, did the 3 needle bind off, right, that I like so much for that. And I did bump up my needle size for that to I think a size 9, US size 9. So probably, I'm trying to think what size a 9 is. I think, oh gosh, I want to say a 5.5mm is what I want to say it is. Now I probably could have used a crochet hook too and slip stitch them together, but you know, the 3 needle bind off works fine as long as I increase my needle size. So that's what I did. So as somebody who's visually impaired, I worked across the straps because I'll be honest with you, as you hear me say all the time, pick up and knit is hard for me. But if you want more flexibility, right, had I bound off across the entire top and then picked up and knit and worked the straps, then guess what? I could have, you know, if I didn't like the placement of them, guess what? I could have ripped it out and started over. So as somebody who's visually impaired, I don't like pick up and knit, although with the crochet, it does make the stitches a little bit bigger. I can feel those a little bit better. I probably could have worked right into those stitches. So that's definitely something for me to consider in the future. But as somebody who's visually impaired, I usually do just like to work across the strap rather than bind off. And that way I don't have to pick up and knit to attach the straps. But that also means you're stuck with the placement, right? Wherever you choose to put those straps, you're stuck with it. I mean, you could bind them off and then, you know, I mean, you could. But it would be a lot. So that is the one downside for me on this. Had I did the whole bind off across the top, I could have just, you know, picked up and knit. And if I didn't like where the straps are, because I don't totally love where I put the straps, right, I could have just taken them off and redone it. I've done that on a tank top before, and I didn't like the straps, so I literally had to cut them off. I tied them off so tight I couldn't even get the knots, and then had to chop them off and redo them. Okay, so you can do it, but my sewing is not good, right? We've seen my sewing and it's, it's not perfect. It's a little uneven, right? It's a little chunky. So I do try to avoid that. So I really don't want to sew on my straps. But if you have sight and if you don't mind doing pick up and knit, then you might be better off doing your entire bind off and then choosing where you put your straps. And then you can really pick out that placement of where you want them. So if you don't like them, you have a lot more flexibility in adjusting them, right? So anyways, that's the whole design process of this top. I really hope that this is helpful for anybody out there who's wanting to customize garments, right? Anybody who wants to get into design, anybody who wants to design clothing, who wants to design knitwear and crochet wear, and who wants to combine the two. I'm really hoping that I'm helping people to understand like the process of design, because I really had no idea what I was going to do with this yarn beyond that I wanted to make a garment for me and that I wanted to learn how to do the ribbing, right? That's literally how it started. And I just kept, like I just kind of design on the fly. I design as I go. I start picturing stuff in my head, right? And just start thinking about it. And because I can't sketch, if I could sketch, I'm sure I'd sit around sketching stuff and drawing stuff. But I don't have the ability to do that. And so, it's like picture it in your head and then work it out on the needles and the hooks and see what happens, right? And so I'm really, really happy with this. I started this on a Saturday and finished it on a Thursday night, y'all. 6 days. 6 days from idea to bind off. Yeah, pretty happy with it. So, anyways, yeah. Say hello in the comment section. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have any thoughts. And I may not have the answers to your questions, but we can learn from each other, right? We can share ideas, right? So let me know if you like to explore and design and create your own work, right? I hope I can help you to customize your garments to fit your body and say goodbye to those prices, right? Those tags, those tags in the store that have like those labels and those numbers and those sizes that can make us feel bad about buying clothes, right? When we make our own, we don't have to worry about those things, right? We just make them to fit us. So anyways, hope this is helpful. I want to say thank you for listening, right? And let me know what your weekend plans are. What are you doing? Right? Are you staying home? Are you sleeping? Are you cleaning? Are you traveling? Are you hitting the road? And when you hit the road, are you bringing your project? You know what the answer will be from me. But of course, can't leave the house without it. Yeah. All right. Well, as always, thanks so much for listening. And you know what I like to end with? Creativity is for everybody, right? Whether you see or you see like me, which is not so much and not in color, or you don't see at all. Creativity is for you. And whether it's knitting or crocheting or sewing or quilting or beading or sculpting or painting or carving or weaving or whatever it is that you do today, it's a great day to craft and create. Thanks so much for listening. Bye-bye for now. And if you stay till the end, I'm going to put the camera on pause. I'm going to take you off the tripod and let you see this top with some light. And you want me to put it on? You want me to put it on? You want to see it on me? That could happen. Hang on. I'll let you see it on the bed first. Okay, so here it is on the bed in the Dottie. We got the ribbing down here, right? This is the crochet through the back loop ribbing. Then this is the mesh stitch all up in here. What do you think? You think that this yarn is too busy to crochet with in like a lacy pattern? I kind of almost do. I don't know. And then this is the stockinette portion. Love that. And then this is the straps up here. We got some garter stitch on the side. Just chose to leave them plain. I thought, nah, it don't need nothing fancy, right? It's already got its own fancy to it. So, okay, let me put the camera on pause. I'll put it on. Don't know if I can actually get a good shot of me wearing it, but we'll try. Okay, I don't know how this is going to work, right? But here we are in the living room. I don't actually know if you can see it on me. I don't know if it's a good angle. But here it how it fits, right? So we got some nice mesh on the lower part. We got some open work. And it really is soft. Like, I can totally see why Premier recommends this as a baby yarn. Like, whenever babies are getting that sweater and that dress I made, those are some lucky babies, okay? This yarn is really, really soft. I love wearing it. Now I want to make more stuff with me for it, and I do think I need to make a baby blanket with it. Okay, well, here it is. Hope you enjoyed that. I really hope that you could see me in it. I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.